So DoorDash made really a pretty big change to their pay structure just this past week, really last Wednesday here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And for a lot of you watching this, also experienced this pay change this month. And actually, most others have not even seen this yet. So this is very new. I want to show you some stats on this new pay structure, actually what is changing, and then really constructively go over a new driving strategy right now, because honestly, with consumer behaviors, with everything going on with DoorDash in the food delivery space, combined with this new announcement, you definitely have to look inwards and adjust your driving strategy. So I want to welcome you to the channel. If this is the first time that you and I are meeting, my name is Mike, and I help you make money in this gig economy. If you have a side hustle, if you have a full-time hustle, just generally, hey, helping you, again, make money and ideally this year create multiple revenue streams. So again, I want to welcome you here. Let me know in the live chat or the comment section where you're watching from. And I'm excited to have a guest, a regular, a part of the driver team here on the channel. My twin brother, Matt, also coming to us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So Matt, how is it going today? How's your day going?
Going pretty well. Happy to talk to all of you again about these latest changes. We're going to break it all down, come up with some new strategies to make sure you're making money. We're going to get through it.
Yeah, folks, this is really important because, again, let us know so other drivers know, again, in the live chat or the comment section, have you seen this new pay structure? Now, hey, maybe you don't even know what's going on here as far as the pay structure. Matt and I are going to review this firstly, just so you can be in the know. Again, this is a team here, so definitely leave your comments below. Now, as a review, if you haven't seen a video posted just a couple of days ago, I do want to keep you in the know on what's changing. Folks, it is your base pay. So here is the pay structure from DoorDash, broken down into three different things: your base pay, your tips, and total earnings, as far as any promotions in there as well, as far as promo pay. Now, with the base pay, there's things like time, distance, dasher desirability, and specifically this change is going to affect the distance parts of this. So your base pay, again, this is directly from DoorDash, is going to range from anywhere from $2 to $10. Again, this is DoorDash's contribution. This is separate from tips, and also separate any peak pay or challenges, which is their incentive pay here. Now, I asked you, our community, and again, if you're not a part of the team here, definitely consider subscribing to join a team of over 46,000. And I said, hey, has your marketplace received this new pay structure from DoorDash? And we had a strong 1,500 respondents. And again, if you want to voice your feedback, make sure to subscribe. This is over on our community tab. And I said, hey, have you received this? And this change is going to be this. It's now going to be a $2.50 base pay, which, remember, is that contribution from DoorDash here. That is, again, usually $2 to $10. So this is really on the bottom level of that. $2 base pay on short deliveries, on short distance deliveries. And then at the same time, consecutively here, it's 10 to 30% increase in that base pay on long distance deliveries. And I asked you, do you have this? Here's what you said. 36% of respondents said, yes, I received this month. And frankly, we're not even through July here. And I see you in the video today. Edwin, appreciate you being here. Nacho, Randall, Devin, thanks for being here in the video today. 36% of drivers said, yeah, I received this month. Mike, this is new to me. And 13% said, yes, I received this 1 to 2 months ago. Only 3% have received this 3+ months ago. And almost half of respondents here on the team said, I've not even received this yet. So now is the time to be looking at this, to be strategizing, because frankly, 80+% of drivers surveyed here on the team either have not received this pay change or have received it this month. So again, here in Pittsburgh, we just saw this last Wednesday, and here's the actual update. And folks, you want to lean into this and definitely drop a like if you haven't seen this info yet, and you appreciate this info, hearing it first. And I want to ask Matt's opinion on this coming up here shortly. So again, this is just the announcement here. Again, I'm going to go through this. Definitely catch up on that previous video if you want to see this in full. But I wanted to show you some of those numbers here. So here's an example of the longer delivery that is paying the 10 to 30% increase in your base pay. So what I want you to focus on here, it says new base pay $4.50. Previously $3.50. Okay, I'm getting $1 extra. It's a 7-mile trip. And we were debating the appeal of this versus this shorter delivery, a 3-mile trip. The base pay is now, remember, down to $2.25. It's been reduced from a $3 base pay. And there's really a few strategies here, a lower order volume strategy and a higher order volume strategy. But Matt, I want to bring you in here. Let's just go back here just to the basic changes. Let me show you this, the longer deliveries here, because we're seeing slightly, 10 to 30% increase on base pay for the longer trips. But we're seeing a $2.25 base pay, basically a lower base pay on those shorter trips. Let me get your initial thoughts on that.
There we go. I see a lot of your comments. I know initially this is going to be very frustrating. I've seen the comments, and by the way, leave your comments. I am following all the chat here on the stream, and if you're rewatching this, put your comments in the video. So I know initially you're thinking this makes no sense. They're paying us less money. We're getting ripped off. It's not fair. But the thing is, your strategy should also change. So the point is, DoorDash as a whole has the largest market share. So why are they doing this? We could argue that they may be lowering the base pay. Of course, they lower the pay. What happens to the rest of that income? They keep that revenue. They're increasing their profits, which could seem unfair. But here's the thing. It's summertime, okay? So a lot of students who are maybe in their colleges or the schools near you are on those breaks. It's warmer out. People are going to restaurants more. Why would they pay us less money? It doesn't make sense, but there are ways around it, and we're putting this to the test. Mike and I were on the road, but the initial reaction, yes, it's a little shocking, but in the gig economy, these changes shouldn't be a surprise because the only thing we know of is that changes are going to happen, and we are here to help you through it. So don't be surprised. Just know that there's ways around that.
Yeah, it's a volatile industry, folks. I mean, that means it's constantly changing, like Matt said. So I brought up here the summertime strategy. I wanted you to talk a little bit about this. So if I am in the 36% of Dashers that just received it this month, or if I'm in the whatever it was, at 58 or so percent of Dashers that have not even received this yet. And folks, the way that this works a lot of times is you'll see maybe the beta markets that might get this first. And again, let me know if you're part of that 3% that got this a while ago, maybe California, maybe Florida. Again, let us know here. So, Matt, go more into that summertime strategy. Let me kind of set you up with this because, let us know, folks, but at least what I've been seeing here, what Matt and I have been seeing is as things are reopening, right? Folks are dining in, they're out doing things. Maybe they're not, lounging at home, especially under more restrictions of last year and getting food delivery. So tell us more about that summertime strategy.
Yeah, so we talk about adjusting your strategy because there's nothing we can do. And we would like the normal base pay, and who knows, it might go up in the winter when more and more folks are using food delivery as they are going to restaurants less. But what you want to do, the summertime strategy, I've talked about this on my channel. I have been on the road from my normal time. Usually I would go online, you might be watching, you're a new driver, you've been driving for a long time, and you're used to making $35 or $30 an hour easy all day long. And now the morning time, those in-between times, those 3 p.m.s, it's just dead, or it's a lot slower perhaps. But I would shift my strategy, my summertime strategy. I would go all in on the dinner rush because That's traditionally the busiest time, and it has balanced out my experience and my revenue where I make barely $18 in the morning and I absolutely crush it. And here's the thing with stacked orders in that evening hour. So I would extend my dinner rush strategy later in the evening. There's a lot to unpack there. How do we do that? There's so many things, but there's ways to adjust it. And I understand your schedule might be limited. There's a lot that goes into it. I would double down on that dinner rush strategy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Folks, if you're getting value in what Matt just said there, definitely drop a like on this video. Let's review that. So as my first point was, hey, maybe, and actually DoorDash and Uber Eats have stated in Q3 here and in Q4, we're going to see a general slowdown just because of market behavior with the things, restaurants reopening and what have you. And then like Matt said, you really need to double down on the dinner rush. And actually, let's show this right now. I wanted to show an example of our recent driving here and lean into this because this was actually after the market change. We'll go through this strategy right here, but I wanted to show you some of these orders here, folks. So again, this is after the pay change here in Pittsburgh. So remember, shorter distance deliveries are kind of getting, I don't know if I want to say penalized, but basically when it comes to your earnings, at least that's what it seems like here. So, we got this one, a $3 order request, 1.4 miles. Again, base pay is what we're looking at here. We have this one for the Chipotle. It's better on the dollars to mile, but $5.25 for 1.9 miles. But here's the thing. Look at the time, and I think Matt's going to agree with this, is the time that we were out there. I'm going to talk about this actually more in tomorrow's video. So again, definitely subscribe if you want to learn kind of the secrets, the in and outs of many different side hustles. But Matt, would you agree? We were out there like 3 p.m. That even further strengthens. And again, I'll show you one more order here. We actually got a retail order, which was interesting here. I do want to focus on those lower paying orders for now. Now more than ever, you got to really double down on the dinner rush. Well, let me ask you this, what if I always drive the breakfast or the lunch rush? I don't know. I typically don't do a lot of dinner rush. Can you speak a little bit more to doubling down on dinner rush and stacked orders?
Right. So I understand that this could dramatically change your revenue from hundreds of dollars a month, if not more, depending on how frequently you drive. I understand you might only be approved on DoorDash or it's the most comfortable app for you. So let's say you drive DoorDash, or at least that's part of your strategy, and you cannot drive the dinner rush, like Mike said. Well, some of the strategies are piecing together those $5, $6, $7 orders, if it makes sense. Again, the basics are the dollar per mile. So on this Chipotle, I understand it's maybe 1.9 miles. You're getting $5. Okay, it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you understand, it's going to take me 10 minutes. So in theory, I could do 6 of these orders in an hour if the demand allows me. You can piece together a fairly decent hourly rate of $25 an hour. Now, it's probably unlikely you're going to fit 6 orders in 1 hour. But my point is, I would do 3 or 4 $7 orders all day long if it gets me to $25 an hour. I would not at all take a $3 order. There's no chance it's even worth me getting out of my car if it's 3 or more miles. Right. Honestly, even if it's 0.5 miles, I probably wouldn't take it.
Let me talk about this because, the summertime strategy, we have markets move, consumer behavior movements. We have the market reopenings here. We have now shorter orders having less base pay, at least in the marketplaces, again, that are affected here. So I like what you say about, because again, this is what we got at 3 p.m., folks. It was kind of dead. And it's almost like these apps, DoorDash specifically, understands 3 p.m. is not the best time to drive. Here in Pittsburgh, always the peak pay, which is the per delivery bonus, it kicks in at 5. It's 5 until 9. So even DoorDash is saying, hey man, 5 to 9 is kind of the best time because that's when we're giving you peak pay. And then Matt, how important are those stacked? I really want to get on these stacked orders because think about it. All right, we're in the hot spots, folks. We're in areas that are really dense with restaurants. And, to get the stacked orders, we are going to get stacked orders from ideally those power strips. Again, areas that are dense with restaurants here. So, doing stacked orders would allow me to get the higher volume of orders per hour, right? I could do, instead of maybe 2 orders an hour, I could do maybe the 3, maybe 4, maybe even more per hour. Would you agree with that?
So I'm just smiling because I know there are voices out there that say, I never get stacked orders. My market is too small. So this whole strategy of stacked orders, just get stacked orders. It's impossible for me to get it. So you understand. So I have to say it. I know we're talking about DoorDash, but I would 100% stress to you, drive whichever app makes the most sense. If Uber Eats is paying you more money, if Grubhub's paying you more money, forget DoorDash, okay? Now, that's not to say I understand they decreased. There's less incentive for those smaller orders. I understand that. That doesn't mean you can't make great money like I did on DoorDash during that dinner rush. But in the morning, if it's slow, multi-app, see whichever one works best for you. But stacked orders, you get the highest chance. There's no guarantees. So I hear you. If you're saying, I'm barely lucky to get a half decent DoorDash order, let alone a stacked order, I understand that. If you're that type of person in your marketplace, you got a multi-app. You got to take whatever orders are best. And if that's a $7 order, and you piece together 3 or 4 of those for $28 an hour, that's fantastic. You might have to work a little harder. I'm sorry. Than the driver that gets a $30 order. If you're not getting those orders in your marketplace, you got to adjust. But the stacked orders are most frequent lunch hour, dinner hour, and we talked about some other ways to piece the in-between time.
Hey, I want to talk about that last point there. I would agree with that. Folks, here's what Matt said, that I think now more than ever, you can't just go out there and wing it and maybe even lean on peak pay, man. Or just lean on DoorDash. They give me the peak pay. Yeah, it's always busy. Like Matt said, if you can only drive due to time restraints, what have you, breakfast and lunch, you got a multi-app, which is driving on different apps at the same time and selecting the best order for you. I agree with that. But because think of this, if you don't multi-app and you just drive on DoorDash and you have this new pay structure, you're getting dinged on each and every one of those shorter orders because of a lower base pay, at least what we're seeing here. And then remember, the summertime strategy, like Matt said here, is understanding market trends, is leaning into the hotspots, trying to get stacked orders, trying to take more deliveries per hour if possible with the stacked orders. Because again, here's you mentioned stacked orders. I want to show you this. I want to show the folks this right here. So speaking of stacked orders, we had this one, which is a stacked order, of course. It's 2 or more assignments for 1 driver. This is a retail. So now to my understanding, you don't need to shop. Okay, those are shop and deliver. That's when you use the red card, folks. Let me know in the comments, do you have retail versus shop and deliver? Let's focus on this because we have not talked about this a lot. DoorDash drive retail orders are different than shop and deliver orders. All right, you get it. A drive order is just I pick it up, I drop it off, but it's from a retail store. Fancy name, whatever. Shop and deliver, I do just that. I shop and deliver. So, Matt, you talked about stacked orders here. This is a stacked order. That's $20. It's $10 pay per order. It's going to take, now I thought this was interesting when we got this one. So folks, it was $3.12. You see on the phone here on the top left, it says deliver by 5:15. Now I'll just give it away. We did not take this one. Matt, maybe you can talk to why we didn't take it. But I've not seen a lot of these drive orders here. Let me know if your marketplace has. Why does it say 5:15? Does that just mean I can take my time? Does that mean legit it's going to be a lot of delays for whatever reason? Talk to me about these drive orders that we're kind of starting to see here more in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I would first prioritize, if you can, the food delivery orders. That's my opinion. And
Yeah.
the only reason, look, if it's $20 and I'm going 10 feet, I'm taking it. I don't care where it is. Right. But look,
Could you imagine?
that would be amazing. But the fundamentals, what we teach, the fundamentals are the dollar per mile and how much money am I going to make per hour, the dollar per hour. And you can see here based on their estimates, and those estimates are very, very accurate. So it's going to take you a few hours, and you can basically say 2 hours, I'm going to earn $10 an hour. When you're driving to a outskirt of the city where there's likely no restaurants, and it's going to take you 2 hours, netting you $10 an hour, it just makes no sense. And the reason I will look at this and immediately decline it is not because of the mileage, it's actually because of the ending location. I'm going to be in most likely a suburb, and yes, it's far. Look, if you pay me $100, I'll do it. And this comes back to rideshare, just to bring it back real quick. I mean, back to whenever Mike and I were driving in 2015.
Oh, I got a great question for you, because you said if they gave me $100, I think I know where you're going. I got a great question for you after this one. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll keep it short. If it makes sense and I can make enough money so I get a good hourly wage, even with my return trip, I'm going to take it. Based on, okay, I'm going to get there around 5 o'clock. It's going to take me 10 minutes to get back. You know what I'm saying. But no, I would not take this order. What is your question?
All right, folks. So if you want to see Matt on the hot seat, comment hot seat in the live chat here. So I'm really curious your answer. So you said, if they gave me enough money, I would take that one. Well, folks, the pay updates that we just saw, again, we just saw this Wednesday, 36% of respondents in our survey of 1,500 say they also just got it this month, and 56% said they haven't even received this yet. So this pay update is affecting your base pay. So, I mean, okay, let's go to, well, this is a short order example. Let me go back to their long order example here. So here's their longer delivery. Okay, so on the longer deliveries, they are paying you more. And you just said you would take something if they were paying you more. Now, I think I know the answer, but, and you also said, hey, I'd take it even with the commute back if they paid me more. Well, they're paying you more here for that longer delivery. I won't, you can answer this, but why would you take or reject this one? Because they are, again, they're paying you more for this longer delivery.
So there's about 100 of you watching. And if you're rewatching this stream, the pressure is on. Okay. So my answer is this: fundamentals. I tend to lead with how much am I going to make per hour. So there's two strategies. Let's say I'm ending my shift and I don't mind. Let's say I have more time in my day. I don't mind that drive back because I'm going to make a lot more money. And like Mike just said, they're paying me more money. If I'm going to make $100 an hour just for that 1 hour, because this order is really large, even though it's far, and I have a lot of time in my day, I'm taking it.
Let me ask you this here, folks. Because, hey, folks, I see in the live chat, Mohammed says it's only $1, and that's actually giving me this idea here. Eric, I see you in the live chat. Ellen, appreciate you always being here, folks. Definitely drop a like so far. Okay, so yeah, like Mohammed said, it's only $1. So let's kick around this idea. Let me go back to the order here. So it's 7 miles, folks, for a total payout of $9.50. It's going to take 24 minutes. Let me ask you that. I would also decline it. Okay. How much would this need to pay for you to take it? So, 7 miles here, folks. Let me see if I can get I think we had a screenshot that showed Pittsburgh a little bit more, maybe not.
I know it's in there. Everyone Google Pittsburgh right now.
Well, here we go, folks. So this is 14 miles. Okay. So you can cut that in half, and that was a $7 order example, just to give you an idea of how far away you'd be driving. So how much would this need to pay you for it to actually make sense then? It's $9.50. Okay.
So if, again, I go off of how much I make per hour. So You should know your city. And this goes back to the basics of what Mike and I teach. Know your marketplace. So I know it's not going to show you this on the app. Okay. It's not going to tell you, hey, it's 10 minutes to get back to a power strip. It's 10 minutes to get back to the city. I just know that. So
Right.
whatever the ETA is, if this trip takes 30 minutes, then I'm going to tag on 10 minutes.
We need a number. We need a number. How much would this have to pay you for you to take this?
So we're saying it takes 24 minutes.
24 minutes, 7 miles away. It's gonna pay you $9.50 currently. What would this have to pay? Again, 7 miles. You saw that illustration earlier to get an idea of how far away 7 miles would be.
I would say at least 15. And here's why. Because I'm gonna tag on 10 minutes to get back. So that's 30 minutes, roughly 35 minutes, okay, of my time. So I would like to make $30 an hour. That's a strong, fair. That's a fair strong. So $15. If this paid me $15 and it takes me 30 minutes of my time, then 30 minutes times I would make 30 an hour. Do you follow that? Yeah. If I made $15, it took me 30, then 2 of those would make me 30 an hour. So for $9, no way.
Well, here's what I'm thinking, folks. Because again, to summarize the changes, more base pay on longer trips like you're seeing here, smaller base pay on shorter trips. So what is it going to take to have the long trips make sense? All right, I'm with you. $2+ a mile, folks, is really what you should be aiming at. My goal for you is minimum of $175 per mile and $25 per hour in gross revenue. So,
I just want to add something real quick.
Yeah.
Does everyone watching this list, do you hear how confusing that is? I have to add 10 minutes and I have to figure out how much it should be. I would honestly I'd rather piece together the shorter orders if it makes sense, or drive another app completely. So if DoorDash is my thing, I would rather take multiple $7 orders, forget the $3 orders. You're not going to fit enough of those in per hour to make it. Yeah. Just forget it. I would rather do that than try to calculate those longer orders. You can keep them, piece together those. That would be my strategy.
Hey, that is a great segue to that strategy that we were going to talk about, folks. I mentioned this for a while now. There's 2 different strategies in essence when you're driving food delivery. You can either do the lower order volume strategy, where I take, like Matt said, less orders per hour, but higher dollar amounts. This is fantastic if your marketplace has a lot of surge on Uber Eats or a peak pay during, again, those dinner rush. Even more reason to double down on the dinner rush. So here I want to make $28 an hour, and I'm taking 2 $14 orders to get $28 an hour, versus the higher volume strategy, where I'm taking a bunch of $7 orders. Maybe there's not peak pay, it's not as much. This is what I can kind of take to equal my $28 an hour. Here's the thing that I want you to pay attention to is whatever strategy you're doing, both can work. And I've done both. I'm sure Matt has as well, is always watch your miles. That's, again, we saw that farther away delivery. Let's just bring that delivery back up here. That if you would take something like this, and let's just assume that this took a regular amount of time. Let's assume this took, let's say, $20. It'll probably take about 40 minutes, let's say, which means I could probably take another order in that hour. So if I took this and it only took 40 minutes, I know the miles are farther, but hang with me here. I've already made $20. And if I can get another higher order payout, then I can make, let's say $32 if I took a $12 order after this one in that hour. So again, I hope that makes sense. You can either do, again, more of the smaller orders, or you can do lesser of the higher dollar orders.
I just want to jump in. I'm sorry. I just want to jump in. Think about this. What if you get orders coming back from, and I get it, guys. Sure. I see the comment section, the wear and tear on the car. That's a great point. Again, I'd rather stack those smaller orders. But what if you get an order on your way back into the city that basically pays for your way back in? Right. Now, again, you're kind of rolling the dice, but I digress. All you.
Well, that's ideal.
Yeah.
You know, if you're on Uber Eats, here's a little hack for you. You need a multi-app, right? And if you're driving an Uber Eats, they have the destination filters. We can put a destination, and hopefully you'll get an order headed in that destination towards that destination, right? Now, here's the thing. If you go offline with a DoorDash, driving back, trying to get in that busy zone, technically, those are no longer business miles. Those are commuting miles. And technically, you should not be able to write off those miles as a business expense. I'm not a CPA or a tax professional. That's not legal or professional tax advice. You get it, right? But technically, you wouldn't be able to write off those miles there. Versus if you at least are online with Uber Eats on a destination filter, then you can. That's a little bit of a kind of a hack there. But I mean, I get what you're saying there, trying to get an order, just trying to stay busy here. It definitely makes sense for me. Let me show you, we'll kind of wrap up with this point right here. But so here is the mock-up of short orders. Let's shift from the long orders. We kind of talked about long orders a little bit to these short orders. I am a massive believer in doing, as short orders as possible, and obviously trying to get the highest pay possible. I'm a little concerned about the lower base pay on these shorter orders. We saw it a couple of days ago with these $3 and $5 orders. Granted, that's only one, short shift there. So here's what it looks like, folks. I mean, you'd get $650 prior. Now you're getting something like $575. As someone who likes to take short orders, especially staying within the rivers here in Pittsburgh, Matt, how do you feel about short order pay? How that's going to affect your strategy? Because again, you like the shorter orders. What are you going to do about this?
Yeah, and I know I talked a lot, and I'm sorry if I rambled there about that longer order. I primarily would take shorter orders. So like Mike said, look, here's a great time to remind you that your acceptance rate doesn't matter, which means you can decline as many requests as you want. As many requests as you want with DoorDash. So look at that change. You're making, you're making less money. So you can be choosier. So decline away. It's not going to hurt you. When you decline requests, that's called your acceptance rate. Now, once you accept a ride, you have to complete that ride, and that ratio is your completion rate. Self-explanatory. So if you're someone who says, I don't want the wear and tear, and I want shorter rides, I would be choosier. I would multi-app. I would look at peak pay. I would go back to basics. I would drive dinner rush. I would try to get stacked orders. You see, there's so many strategies. Maybe Uber Eats is paying me a Quest bonus,
right,
where I look at all of the bonuses. Be choosier. Be choosier, because look, they're taking money away for the same exact effort.
Right.
Okay. You're driving maybe full time and you're trying to pay your bills. You're saving up for a goal of yours. Look, we are independent contractors, but they need us. This is not a you versus them thing, but the fact is you're the one that chooses which food deliveries you take. It's amazing. It's never been like this. You are in control. Be choosier. And that doesn't mean you can still make amazing money on Grubhub. I'm sorry, on DoorDash and on Grubhub, but just be choosier.
Well, that's good. Actually, you mentioned Grubhub there, because again, I mean, it's the fundamentals, but I don't think everyone's doing it, is having the multi-apping in your back pocket, especially because, it seems like whenever we drive for Grubhub, firstly, it's like a $9 minimum. So it's a higher minimum, at least what we've seen in Pittsburgh. Let us know in the comments or the live chat if your marketplace has a similar minimum, but a minimum of $9 on Grubhub. But we've seen the straight up unicorn orders on Grubhub. We've seen $20+ orders, and we've seen, at least the one $30+ order on Grubhub. So, I mean, yeah, especially now more than ever, I think it's very important to, like you said, obviously, I mean, I hope no one would do this, but I mean, obviously there's no allegiance to one app. I mean, frankly, to put you in the hot seat, I mean, I remember you were, constantly driving on Uber Eats and a little reluctant for whatever reason to drive for DoorDash. And we see the power in the multi-app in here. So let's leave the folks with one final point here as we land the plane on the video today. If you are getting value in this video today, definitely drop a like. And if you do want to go deeper with us here, folks, get access to exclusive content, behind the scenes content, custom badges, emotes, different ways to stand out right here in the live chat in the comment section as well. Definitely consider hitting the join button down below to join the team as a VIP. Now, if you can't see that, you're probably on mobile. Make sure to run over to a laptop or a computer so you can sign up for that if you so choose to get access to those exclusive features. So, all right, Matt. So we saw this, at least here in Pittsburgh, just last Wednesday. It's new. I know we're going to be hitting the road here again with the DoorDash very soon. What is the future of, we'll just keep it on DoorDash. How do you feel? I'm not going to go too far in the future. How are Q3 and Q4 of this year going to look for Dashers, and especially combined with, I think, strong consumer behavior changes because things are reopening? Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say for sure, but what we know traditionally is once this weather changes, of course, the weather is going to affect the demand. As the weather gets worse, then more people are going to be reluctant to go out and food delivery is going to go up. But as far as DoorDash goes, they're all trying to gain. It's a race for market share. Now, I don't think that things, don't quote me on this, this could come back to bite me, but I don't think that things are going to cascade and be a horrible Q3 and Q4 for Dashers. Now, I mean, they can only decrease pay so much before folks are not even going to ride. There's enough competition where if they pay us $1 base pay, then we'll go to Uber Eats. But look, what I see is maybe more incentives for Dashers, because the more drivers they have, the more cities they can open up, the more orders that Dashers will take. I actually think it's going to be the reverse. They're going to ramp up their recruiting efforts as we go into the winter because they know that demand is going to increase. They want more drivers, which makes them more money. So let's just hope that this base pay thing, you know, they've done a lot of testing. Some of it's not to our benefit. Sometimes it is, but we just have to roll with it. Again, do that summertime strategy. Double down on your dinner rush hours if you can, multi-app and all those great things. I wish I could answer all the questions in the chat. I do see some of you from Pittsburgh, so hello from Pittsburgh, and thanks for all of your support if you're watching the rewatch or the live stream now. So we really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you being there. I appreciate you adding that. I'll close with this. I mean, you have to take the offensive, folks. You got to take the offensive. You take the defensive if you're reactionary. Again, if you just drive for DoorDash, I mean, I've said, come on, I've said for years, really, you will not get rich in the gig economy. It's honestly really meant as a side hustle, usually side hustle income. Of course, you can do this as a full-time hustle in some marketplaces. But like Matt said, something that we're really emphasizing right now, it's follow the money. So if you can still make great money, if you can be more aggressive on the offensive, you can decline a bunch of trips that don't make sense. You can double down on the summertime strategy, doing the dinner rush and trying to get some of the peak pay if offered in your marketplace, trying to get a unicorn on Grubhub at the same time, and or what you should be experimenting with the different niches and ideally setting up different revenue streams as well. That is your goal. Folks, I want you to be complete here. I want you to have a full arsenal of ways to make money, not just relying on one thing. Because if you rely on one thing, you're at the mercy of that one thing, right, folks? So, hey, if you did get value in this video, if you appreciate Matt being here, definitely drop a like. And your next step, what I want you to do, you can check out Matt's channel. It is Your Driver Team Matt. We'll link it down below in the description. And if you did get value in this video, definitely drop us a like if you could. And you can also click or tap screen right here for a new video. And we'll see you in the next one.